All right, everybody. Welcome back. Another exciting week of Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge. I took a week off to go have some fun off in the middle of nowhere, and now I'm back. And I have once again dragged, kicking and screaming, and entirely of his own volition, Nicholas Maynard back into the booth. How you doing?
Well, according to this note that I have to read, I'm doing well, and I'm excited to be here.
Perfect. that is, you nailed the delivery on that. But we are back. It is our first sprint week of the season, due to the new format for season 15. Had two endurance weekends, both Daytona that we saw 2 weeks ago, as well as Spa last week in preparation for the Spa. I almost said Daytona 24. Nope, wrong part of the year. Spa 24. That was also last weekend. Did you partake in the Spa 24?
Yeah. My goodness, yes, I did.
How was it?
It was fun. We had quite the journey. Qualified decent, fell down, and spent the last 22 hours clawing our way back up. So
yeah.
it turned out well. I think we finished P7.
Nice, very good.
In third split.
In third split? Oh, very good. That is definitely worth, the achievement, even if it's not a podium or whatever. Still, out of 60 cars, I think they have usually in those, to end up 7th.
Yep, 60 cars.
Yeah.
Yep, it was like a 5K strength of field.
Nice, very good. We were
it was
27th in a much lower split. I think it's 13 or something like that. So way less exciting.
It doesn't. You finished though, right?
Yes, yeah, we finished.
That's what matters.
That it is. Speaking of finishing, we're going to have a boatload of cars take to the track here for the first of our 2 sprint races this weekend. We go out to Australia for a doubleheader, starting out at the infamous Mount Panorama Circuit, often referred to as Bathurst. And then we will go hop pretty much not far, I would say, across the country, but that's not really quite accurate. We'll head over a little bit, and we'll go say hi to Adelaide and the street circuit there. I think it's going to be a pretty fantastic one in terms of the driving.
Amount of body panels damaged.
Yeah, that too. Amount of body panels damage. I'm excited to see the chaos on lap number 1. Seeing who's coming through the end of a lap here. Most of them are on their first flyers, so maybe just join with one of those here in a moment.
Are we picking up an echo from my mic? Can't tell.
I am not.
Huh.
You might. I don't hear an echo. I don't see an echo on the broadcast side of things.
Well, that's what matters then.
Are you hearing an echo?
Yeah, I think it's from my stream computer behind me. Dan and I were trying to have him remote into that so he could use it to stream, and I think I got some weird things going on, so I'm gonna fix that real quick. I'm gonna step away 1 minute.
Alrighty, sounds good. I'll talk over Bathurst a little bit more while you do that, and we'll get into racing here in just a moment's time. Solo qualifying for our sprint weeks involves all these drivers getting 2 laps of at pace, 3 laps including the out lap, to set a lap time in a vacuum. They don't have to deal with driving around pesky other drivers like they do under the usual open qualifying formats for the endurance weeks. With that as well, currently sitting, I think, just shy of 30 drivers, which is pretty fantastic for week number 3, especially at a pair of, I would say, very technical courses. Adelaide, no slouch either. We talk a lot about the difficulties of Bathurst. The mountain will bite you very quickly, but I don't think it is any better or worse to discount these drivers as they work their way through. Initial times coming onto the board as well as we're getting into it. Let me see real quick if I can get ourselves set with some.
I am back.
Welcome back. Let's see here. Who has just finished a lap? That will take us for our second one.
I think
Tim
we're
Schaefer.
still seeing the track map.
We are indeed. I'm getting there here in just a moment. I want to talk through that. And then I was going to look at points. But real quick, do you want to talk us through a lap of Bathurst?
I do. Yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks. That turn one right there, it's so simple but deceptive because you got that long straight coming out of it. You really got to set yourself up to get a good run. And turn one, I mean, you can shave 3/10 off of lap time pretty easily just by nailing that corner. Turn two here is again one of my favorites. I'm gonna say that a lot on this track. Just the amount of compression and grip. You really got to commit on the entry and trust that the track's gonna hold you. You get up here to get started on the mountain. See a lot of people die in that corner. Traction coming out of the corner is very important. Really got to be easy on the throttle and have a good setup to allow you to get the power down, because you can lose a lot of time if you flip coming out of that corner. Full commitment right here with a good setup, good car. You can go in with flat out. That's terrifying, and then you just huck yourself off the mountain and pray. Hopefully things come together and you don't end up hitting a wall. By the time you hit this part right here, your brain is melted, you're fried, you're freaking out, you're hopefully still driving straight. And then you miss the inside wall there, miss the outside wall, just like the rest of the mountain, and then catch your breath coming down the straight here. You got to enjoy the scenery. Got to watch out for the kangaroos, unfortunately. Maybe iRacing will model those sometime soon.
Number of cars claimed by kangaroos is more than, I think, double digits at this point, which is surprising to me.
I would believe so. And then the set of corners back there, I like to call a Verstappen corner because one of the first Bathurst 24 hours I watched, you could see him kind of throw a tantrum because somebody passed him and he ran him off the track. So that was fun to see. And of course, the very last corner back there to the left, it gets greasy, it gets slick. It's very easy to slide off wide into the grass and ruin a good lap. So, Bathurst in a nutshell is have fun, don't die.
I think that is a very apt summary for Bathurst. It is have fun, don't die. As long as you're not hitting a wall, you're doing it right, is how I've often talked about it. Especially when we talk about either the Bathurst 1000 or the Bathurst 12 hours that happens throughout the year, both in real life and in sim racing. It is a pretty enjoyable one.
I said Bathurst 24 hour, didn't I?
I don't really remember if you did or not, but I definitely think it would be something that either of us. That should happen.
That should be a thing. That should happen.
I don't think it'd be a very. I think it'd be a wild experience.
Yeah. It's a street circuit, hill climb, road course, all put together.
All in one. And racing around it for 12 hours alone is pretty brutal. Adding in another 12 hours and usually probably a couple more drivers on your teams, I think would make for a very fun but a very brutal event.
Absolutely. 8 sides. That's an impressive lap.
Kind of the fastest, a 202.658. Sorry, 650. Forgive me.
Barely beating out Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes, he's done, right? Yeah.
Yep. I think we're waiting on Charles Rotes, the sauce, coming back again for another season after a couple of them away, as well as Tyler Thomas and Kelvin Collado, I think, still wrapping up a lap as well. As a lot of these drivers, especially the AM drivers, have swapped away from Acuras due to the Acura loading glitch, which is a very weird experience from what I've heard.
Yeah, I was having some weird issues just updating iRacing a while ago. It took me a minute to get in. It was not doing it.
Yeah, it wasn't. Mine showed like it was going to be using the new UI, but then went back to the old updater to actually download anything. And it was very, very strange.
It happens. iRacing's trying their best.
That it certainly is. I think qualifying coming to a close here. A couple of drivers will not get a lap time in. We'll start at the end of the grid there. We'll get a grid order here for you in just a moment as we get set to go racing for 30 minutes time. Nate Side's going to be leading us off here with Kevin Hayes going to be in second. Nick Terrell as well as Luke Plaisant's going to be in row number 2 of that grid. Dan Griffin going to be alongside Matt Markley for 5th and 6th. Kelvin Collado and Tony Caicedo round out row number 4 with Sergey Perok along with Nico Vizzolo, the current 9th and 10th there, excuse me. Josh King, Zachary Holden rounding out the top 12. Zachary Holden getting a fantastic run to lead off the GT3 AM category. Keith Gwinnett, as well as Tyler Roberts, going to be in 13th and 14th. Tim Schaefer in 15th, alongside Jared Petit in 16th. Chris Gardner and Tom Leeson rounding out the 9th row of the grid, with Jim Campbell as well as Joe Evers rounding out the top 20. Caleb Rodriguez, as well as Rob Myers, Wesley Woods and Trevor Peterson for the top 24. And then we have 4 more here. Dale Marshall, Hayden Mamanga, Charles Rhodes, Tyler Thomas rounding out the 28 cars that are going to take to this grid. Notably, none of them will be Acuras because the Acura is having issues. So, thoughts, final pieces of wisdom or ideas to keep in mind for these drivers as they get ready to go racing here at Bathurst.
Well, after 2 endurance events, the first sprint race night coming in here, can't really be too patient, honestly. Short race, maybe be a bit aggressive, get a position where you can. Points are starting to add up right now, so sure some of the guys are maybe paying attention to that, especially Zach Holden, your current AM leader getting a pole here. Mm-hmm. That's all you can ask for from him. So watch out and hold on. It's going to be exciting.
That it certainly will be. Nate Side's going to be leading off this 28-car grid. I think it's going to be, much like you say, it's exciting. It's also going to be, I think, a little bit more, I would say, spicy than we usually see, especially with the endurance starts. Drivers, since it's only 30 minutes of racing, they are, I think, a little bit more eager to see what they can do in terms of getting a position here or there. As the pace car will peel in, that BMW M2 safety car working its way into the pit lane. The drivers are all going to bunch up. Tony Caicedo weaving in the back there from where he's starting in 8th. We'll wait for the green flag to drop. Those red lights will blink for us, and that's going to make a 3-wide mad dash down to start-finish line with Nick Tyrrell going to try to hold on to the inside of Luke Plaisant. A big gap of all of these cars working their way down through turn number 1. Everybody seems to get through it okay so far. The whole bunch.
Turn 1 clean.
Yeah, that was very exciting to see, especially given that Night Sides and most of the grid is still too wide down the first straightaway into turn number 2. That's where I think we're going to see a lot of them button down a little bit more seriously, though. I think Luke Plaisant's not going to be content to sit behind Nick Tyrrell, even though they were alongside each other at the beginning into the cutting. The first time sees those two swap positions up in the top 4. Good up for Josh King, labeled with the crash. I think a pretty interesting one early on. But the rest of the field behind these two still within a couple tenths of each other. Second between Luke Plaisant and Kevin Hayes as they get through Skyline for the first time in the race conditions and work their way further on down. Right along. Keith Gwinnett going to be off track there with a missing front bumper. It's going to make for a very interesting car to get down the entire back half, the downhill section.
Yeah, he's just got to get it to pit road, dive in, get that fast repair, and get back out there.
Absolutely. Kevin Hayes is going to go with his crash as well. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. As there's now a 3-second gap, but a huge host of cars. Kelvin Collado going to be at the tail end of them. Hop on the roll bar here. Quick feel of driving in the Ferrari 296 GT3. And that's going to be a slid.
Whoa.
Nick Tyrrell off the side there. As well as, I believe it,
Dan Griffin.
He's going to be climbing back on here. Curious as to what happened there for Nick Tyrrell. We'll take a look back through all these lap 1 incidents. We have a whole host of them queued up, keep going up, as well as Josh King, our first two. I wonder if these are incidents together or separate.
Hopefully we don't have any teammate on teammate crimes here.
Let's hope not. Osborne set up shop. No, that's going to be yeah, there's a little bit of teammate on teammate. Not intentionally. Josh King, I think, got loose. Separate of that. Yeah, just up the road from where Keith Bennett was. And cutting, like you said, traction's such a premium in that corner. It's so easy.
Lost it on entry.
Yeah, it's an easy one to do, especially on cold tires. I've seen it happen a handful of times. I've been the unfortunate soul to be in the car also an equal number of handful of times, but still unfortunate.
A little too hard on the brakes, just send them around.
Mm-hmm.
What happened here?
I think they're just slow as a result of trying to avoid that incident. Both Trevor Peterson and Leslie Woods labeled with that. Nico Bozzolo labeled as an off track in the skyline, trying to get around Tony Caicedo. Huge off there. Great way to grab that. Such a quick recovery there. And that's where we saw, I think, Kevin Hayes jumped to the pits after he had an incident.
Yeah, first time down the mountain, cold tires is imagine what we're going to see here. Probably the rears step out on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Called it.
Oh, that was heavy.
Brutal hit, and he just toes it. Such a great amount of heads up to not try to move that car from that point. Josh King gonna make that day go from bad to worse. Wounded car, just think gonna slide on him. I'm sure we've seen it talk about other ones, especially when you have no rear wing. All right, and do you
it looks like
chance to look at the incident with Nick Tyrrell here? Oh my gosh!
No, I did not.
Oh.
I did not expect that.
Well, trying to keep, I think Luke Plaisance plenty of space. Had a great run down the Conrad Straight. I think it just took too much curbing.
I would imagine Dan probably just blew the corner with all the excitement, missed brake zone.
Yeah, and then also I think just trying not to get run into by either Nick Tyrrell, and also didn't want to kill Luke Plaisance in the process.
Exactly. Good news is it looks like Nick Tyrrell and Kevin were back out of pit lane, but I see Kevin Hayes maybe crashed again.
Crash for Nick Tyrrell, but I think it's just him spinning out or just slowing the car down here. And then I see Kevin Hayes with wait, hold on. I'll take a look at that here in a second. See what happens. This is a fresh car, one faster car for all these drivers. I know we're looking at a bunch of crashes going on. The rest of the order pretty much as we kind of left it from that incident earlier with Nick Tyrrell. Yeah, just cold tires catching him out at that point. What happened with Nick Tyrrell here? Just want to chop it. Let's see what this shows us. Tries to get back on track and then wants to avoid to not hit anybody. That's how he ends up there. Okay.
Exciting start.
Absolutely.
To make it through corners 1 and 2, they made up for it on the mountain.
They certainly did. And as they come down the mountain once again for lap number 3, Dan Griffin as well as Sergey Perok going to be too wide going into the end of a lap. Dan Griffin just absolutely leaning on the door there. Sergey Perok going to be forced to play defensive twice in one lap. Kelvin Collado going to capitalize around the outside as well.
Sergey's not giving it up. Well, yeah. I know he's last season he was tough to battle with. Sergey would, he would hold his own. Like, you had to pass him. He wasn't really going to give you much of anything. But he was always clean.
Definitely continuing that reputation. I think it's one of the things I've often known him from the Formula Ultimate days as well. His race is quite clean, but will offer No room for error, as well as no room for easy moves to be done. Very good at like, making that car as wide as possible.
Yeah. Yep. Gotta earn it with him.
Nico Bozzolo right behind, and that's his way through.
Little,
Bit of recovery drive there. What you got?
little Corvette sandwich he's in.
Well, Corvette Ferrari sandwich.
Oh, that is Ferrari in front of him. I was thinking Dan was right in front of him.
Yeah, no, Kelvin snuck by as well. But Kelvin and Sergey are in a Corvette sandwich.
There we go. It's a Big Mac or whatever double meat patty burgers are out there these days.
A couple of battles that are still going on. Matt Markley now under fire from Dan Griffin, who's been working his way up the order after that initial issue. Kevin Hayes with the oopsie in chat. Absolutely. But happens to the best of us.
This appears this is about the best battle on track right now, it looks like. Battling for the last step of the podium. See what kind of top speed that Corvette has.
He's going to have a little bit of a draft there and the inside line because Matt Markley didn't choose to defend it early. It means that unless Dan overshoots the corner, which I don't think he's done, he's going to be able to just plant that car right in front of Matt Markley and make the pass stick.
Matt Markley is, man, he is sitting really well. I was looking at the points here. He's kind of sitting 17th right now, so it's shaping up to be an excellent points night for him already.
Heck yeah. Points have been pretty... well, that'll probably change back in his favor as Dan Griffin goes sliding across Skyline. Oh,
that's a tough spot to be.
It's a tough spot to be in. You won't be able to see anything over that ridge because of how low that car is. Let's see if I can hop into the gearbox there. Yeah, you can see all those cars peeling down the chase. Tomlinson going to be able to give him enough space to get back on there. What? Did he catch too much curving? I'll take a little bit of a slow down through here. Oh, it was loose going into that. I think he added too much throttle too soon. Great heads up driving out of Matt Markley. What you got?
Yeah, and everybody else behind him, like everybody stayed right and didn't add any damage. Oh, that was close.
Yeah. He's able to pull it apart just out of the way enough. Waits for the gap here. Kind of our big gap in between drivers, between Zachary Holden and the rest of the field.
Oh, no. Do I see Zachary Holden down pit lane?
I do indeed. I'm curious as to what for. He has 2 off tracks just before this moment. I think we're going to see him take a fast repair. Let's see what happened here.
5-second lead. Evaporated. Oh,
yep.
Man.
That looks like not quite a hardware fail, but something has happened.
Maybe he got into the wall. I didn't see a meatball or anything. Did you?
No, I saw no meatball. I don't even see any physical damage looking at the replay, which shows him coming into pit lane. So I'm trying to figure out where it came from.
That's tough to see.
Yeah, especially given how successful he's been so far this season. Tim Shaver, Tyler Roberts.
I wonder if he didn't put fuel in after qualifying.
Oh, that would... I guess that makes sense, but he's still a lap. We're 6 laps in at this point, almost to the halfway point of our 30-minute sprint race. And it is, I think, a pretty...
I have questions.
Yeah?
Need to talk to him after the race, figure out what happened.
Zachary Holden, do you want to talk to him right now?
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes, that certainly can be a thing. Zachary Holden, welcome to the booth.
Wait, why am I in here?
Because you came down pit lane, sir.
Nicholas Maynard has questions, so...
No. It's because I ate the wall going through the corner onto the back straight, and it knocked my wheel way out of
way
out of whack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
'Cause that didn't
I
show
was
up
thinking,
on the stuff.
Well done, sir. I was hoping it wasn't a forgot to put fuel in it for the race thing.
I did just barely almost not have enough fuel. I was lift and coasting already, but now we make up whatever positions we can with enough fuel where I don't have to lift and coast every corner.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about fuel save.
So I got 11 seconds and 16 minutes to make it to Hayden. That shouldn't be a problem.
Yes.
Just use that right pedal.
Yep.
Oh
right.
man, good luck.
I'll let you get back to it.
Thanks, man. No worries.
Zachary Holden, currently in 9th in class, 21st overall. A bit of an uphill climb. We're going to be watching, I think we're going to be coming back to this battle and watching him, carve his way through the AM ranks. Ooh, big hits for both Charles Rhodes as well as Trevor Peterson ahead of him. Oh, that car does not look happy for Charles Rhodes as he works his way into the chase.
Yeah, it was a heavy hit. Definitely didn't look like just some neck that was going on there.
It's not, especially that front right looking pretty scraped. I'm curious if there's wheel damage amongst all that.
Well, it's not Bathurst unless your steering wheel's crooked.
That's very true. Up in GT3 Pro. Sergey Perot keeping up with Nico Bozzolo after that pass was made earlier. Excuse me.
Looks like Matt Markley's trying to make a move on Luke for second.
Ooh. Or Kelvin Collato's caught up to Matt Markley. I think that might be more of the case.
Oh.
Okay, my timing tower. Though I'd say both of them are faster than Luke Poisson, so I think there's definitely a possibility here, though that contact from Matt Markley might be a bit of concern. Let's see if I can ride on board with Kelvin Collato. We can get a front row seat on whether or not that damage is going to be costing him anything too serious. Hear how much
that Ferrari is very sensitive to front end damage, as we actually learned this past spa.
You drove the Ferrari for spa, right?
We did, first time, yeah. It was good for a change, but we had some splitter damage. 8 seconds worth of damage was costing us 2 kph top speed.
Jeez.
So she's sensitive.
It's one of those. It's one of those aero. Really applies a lot of importance. Not important. The aero, when it's damaged, costs a lot more than it feels like it should on paper. If that makes.
That's right.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. It took me 3 tries to get there, but seems like whatever impact there was doesn't seem to be slowing down Matt Markley at all. Kevin Collado not going to be too disturbed. So he tries to persevere and get himself onto the podium. This will be a good run here for Kelvin. What happened to Kev? Lap 1 running through the chase with cold tires is what happened. Michael Doyen. These two continue their way up. Kind of a three-way fight for the top 10 involving Jerry Petit from GT3 Pro. Oh, Michael Doyen stuck at work. That's always the worst place to be. $18 minutes elapsed, 10 minutes to go. Is there a mind shift change towards that last 10 minutes of racing, especially in sprint races like this?
Yeah, I know personally, it all depends on where you're at. You know, of course, if you've got a little gap between either front or behind, you're kind of, all right, almost locked into where you're at now. So you kind of just maintain. But if you're staring at somebody's bumper, you're starting to push the issue. At least I would be, just trying to get everything I can out of it. So it might be exciting. You might see a few more incidents here towards the end as people start to push. But it's time to go.
Certainly seems to be the way for most of these drivers. Dan Griffin's still working on his recovery drive after that slide at Skyline, costing him a little bit more time. He's still half a second away from Tim Schaefer, battling out over 8th, both in class as well as overall. Bit of lap traffic from Tyler Thomas as he's got a black flag to serve for the incident limit. Has made for a bit of a interesting start to the final third of this race. There's no, correct me if I'm wrong, not a lot of good passing opportunities as they run up the mountain here.
There is not. You can, but it's really, really forcing the issue. Like you're probably, I'd say, 70% guaranteed to crash if you try to pass on the mountain, which, whenever you're setting up your car, you take that into account. Low downforce, it's like on the mountain, you just try to hang on and get down to the straight, and hopefully you have a faster car and they can't pass you, and then you just repeat the next lap. So it can get a bit frustrating if you've got a really fast car over top of the mountain, but because it's so fast on the mountain, you lack a little bit on the straight. Frustration can take hold of you, and that forces you to make a mistake. So it really all starts with car setup, and you got to have the correct mindset to match your setup. So Dan gets around pretty good right there. Knowing Dan, he's probably got a little bit less downforce, so it's a little squirrely over the mountain, and got to get that top speed.
Do you have do you also prefer the low downforce for Bathurst?
It's changed over the years. I guess as I've grown as a driver, I used to enjoy the security of high downforce. I was like, hey, I want to make it over the mountain. It's like, get to the straight. It is what it is, but I'm going to be fast over the mountain, which works well if you're by yourself, but if you're racing, it doesn't really work. And now I prefer as little downforce as possible. It's like survive on the mountain and just, have that drag car on the straight. Because if they can't pass you down there, they're not going to pass you on the mountain. They're going to be slower behind you. So that's evolved over the years.
Wesley Woods making the look down the inside. Absolutely. That is, I feel like a lot of drivers progression as they get more and more comfortable with how much slip angle they can put into a car and how long, how much they can hang the rear end out over the course of a corner. They'll much rather prefer that lack of downforce to make the fast sections faster, and then the ability to hang on for, especially a lot of these more technical courses that have half technical and then half straight line speed, like Bathurst is. And I think there's a bunch of other tracks that have, I think, a similar split. It's just not as A-B. There's usually a little more interchange between the fast sections of straight line speed and then the kind of technical nature of corners. But this one, it's, you get all of your mountain driving and all the technicality first, and then the kind of bookending the lap is going to be that straight line speed and the fast sections there, as Wesley Woods finally working his way around Trevor Peterson. Oh, that's having Minga sliding into Forest Elbow.
Car looked okay.
It looked
maybe he got lucky there.
I think suspension damage is going to be. Look at that front. I think the front left is not happy with how low that car is sliding on the ground.
Oh man. Yep.
Let's take a look at the incident itself. Getting down through the dipper into Forest Elbow. Slides it out. Too much braking on that initial kind of kink you have to the right before the left of Forest Elbow. And that front left. See if this turns. Yeah, no turn there. That'll be a meatball flag for you for sure.
No engineer, but I think that's broken.
Might be just a little bit. He'll work his way down to the pit lane, get that pass done. Zachary Holden now finds himself back up into third. And with Darrell Weininger not present this week, I think that does put Zachary Holden, if he's able to keep up the momentum pretty solidly, I would say, I think, into the lead of the championship standings.
Yeah, with Tom
Adelaide.
Leeson hot on his heels.
I'd say those two, I think, are going to get some good points tonight, especially if they keep up the same kind of momentum they have here going into Adelaide. Tony Caicedo going to get around Sergei Perok. Sergei Perok, I think, had a pretty wide pass. Is he going to slow down to serve? Interesting.
He did seem to just kind of pull over.
Yeah. Nate Side setting the fastest lap until Calvin Collado is going to take it away just a moment later as he continues to hunt down Matt Markley up there. And these two battling out for the last position in the top 5. Calvin Collado making the run down to turn number 2. Going to see if he has the outside line, if he can hang it around the outside. It's one you can do. It's a little bit interesting when you do it, though, especially if you don't nail it just right. See Matt Markley playing very defensively and doing a very good job of it. Do you prefer to drive defensively or only if you really have?
I kind of hate it.
That's fair. I agree.
Yeah.
It's one of my least favorite things to do, but I was curious.
Nah, that's probably my weak point is defending. Sometimes I feel a little guilty for doing it. It's like, man, you ran me down pretty easily, and kind of roll over a little bit. So that's something I'm working on. I'd much rather chase than be chased.
Fair. It does make it pretty, I'd say, a little bit simpler to try to battle. As Caleb Rodriguez, Wesley Woods, and Nick Tyrrell all going to come in to serve black flag penalties for the incident limit. So I think
Nick Tyrrell is having such a good comeback drive too.
Yeah, up until that point. Sergei Perok going to find himself sliding out of the top 5 as he ends up really having a moment there into Forest Elbow.
Literally sliding.
Yeah, that car is crabbing. So he was chasing down Tony Caicedo throughout the chase, or not the chase, excuse me. Slides it in, and then I It just overslides, bounces that rear end. That's going to cause that whole thing to just crab as that right, excuse me, yeah, right rear is just not straight. Oh. No impact there into the wall. I think if you won, might be worth it just to park it, but that car does not look happy.
No, it's seen better days. Hopefully they get that repaired by the time we get to Adelaide.
Think it is quite possible.
Man,
He's still working his way down.
shout out Joe Evers and Rob Myers for, I'm saying that right? Gaining 10 positions.
Yeah. Rob Myers is going to be 10
Impressive.
overall, 5 in class, up to second in the GT3 AM category. Joe Evers having a fantastic race, up 10 positions as well, up 6 in class where he started. Now battling with Jim Campbell for the bottom 2 spots in the top 10.
Those kind of position gains usually don't happen here at Bathurst. That says a lot right there. They've kept it clean, kind of run their own race, and it's like doing all the right things.
So staying out of trouble feels like such the name of the game of Bathurst. So I think they have taken that lesson to heart, much like you just, you said about how you drive on this course. I think it's a great way to have that mentality of just trying to survive on the mountain and then pick up whatever time you can out on the straights at the end of the lap.
There going to be any last minute battles coming on here in the last few
I
laps?
think this is the last one on track for the moment. Tom Leeson also going to be in pit lane with a meatball flag. What did I miss? There. Tom Leeson went off track, came back on track, went off track again. Much like we saw, this is Skyline off track. Oh, that's going to be a big hit there. Yep. That will be what does it. I'm surprised this didn't get flagged as a crash on our system. But then he immediately tows from there. So that is how Tom Leeson will end up into and out of pit lane, using his fast repair to get that car going. Jared Petit going to join those with issues. Dan Griffin sliding out in turn number 1 as well.
It's getting exciting here at the end.
It certainly seems to be. Let's see what happened to Jared Petit coming into the cutting as well. And that FTM Sim Sports Mustang. Too much rotation, it looks like. Keeps out of trouble initially. What happens here? Oh,
Oh, hello.
Sauce caused some damage there. Let's go see how he gets a meatball flag. Because that front left looks like it's no longer turning. And that'll also give Charles Rotes a black flag for the penalty limit as well. So he's got a penalty there. And then he'll get if any of these drivers get, I think it's 7 more or 6 more, it's going to be a disqualification for the race. We see it so rarely. Kelvin Collado unable to continue to find the time over the course of this race. However, Luke Plaisance slowly getting caught by Matt Markley here on this final lap of the race. So Nate Sides is going to come home to take the win here. GT3 Pro.
Dominant drive by Sides. I mean, kept it quiet the whole race. It's textbook. That's what you got to do at Bathurst.
That it is. Chris Gardner is going to make the GT3 AM podium. And then Joe Campbell, Joe Evers going to go side by side for the final spot in the top 10. A little bit of last lap action for these two drivers as Joe Evers, he has a great run throughout the final couple corners. You're going to see him try to make a look on the inside here. These two having a battle pretty much all race, but he's going to make sure he doesn't end up clocking that corner. And that will see, I believe, Jim Campbell will be able to hold on to that 9th place finish ahead of Joe Evers. 3/10.
Exciting finish from those guys.
Absolutely.
Zachary Holden got back to the podium.
That he did. Come home third there. Keith Gwinnett going to be into pit lane to serve a black flag penalty on the last lap. Which I think may... Well, I think if that doesn't count as being served, may give Trevor Peterson a position. Yeah. But him as well as
Most likely should be a time penalty.
Gotcha. Then him, Caleb, over you guys, as well as Hayden Mamanga, got to be the last three there on track to come home to the checkered flag.
"30 minutes was not long enough to cover all the action that happened on track."
I don't think it was. It was so hard to either be keeping up with incidents or talking about racing action for most of it.
So a 30-minute broadcast and a 30-minute recap video.
Yes.
And that would still only tell half the story.
Yes. All right. Thoughts at the end of this one as we look at some results here in just a moment once Caleb Rodriguez works his way around to the checkered flag and we get an official results page. But he's going to run out of fuel, I think, at the last moment. And he will tow and make himself take to the checker to that point, I think. Maybe.
Is it going to happen?
Doesn't quite look like it, but unofficially. And GT3 Pro, we're going to see Nate Sides take on the win there. Luke Plaisant's going to be in second with Matt Markley rounding out the podium. Calvin Collado and Tony Caicedo going to be in fourth and fifth. Tyler Roberts, Dan Griffin, Tim Schaefer, and Jim Campbell, as well as Joe Evers rounding out that top 10. Nico Vizzolo, as well as Nick Tyrrell and Sergey Perok are the last leaders on the lead lap, with Kevin Hayes a lap down from the rest of the field. And GT3AM. Hey, we actually have results here. There we go. There's those guys. GT3AM. Nicholas, you want to take us away?
Yeah, Chris Gardner. Man, 10-second win right there. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Good job to him. Rob Meyer second, and like we were discussed during the race, Zachary Holden coming back and finishing on the podium after having to pit. Trevor Peterson fourth, Keith Gwinnett fifth, Hayden Maminga sixth after some trouble. Caleb Rodriguez, Dale Marshall, Wesley Woods, and Tom Leeson rounding out the top 10. Charles Rhodes 11th, Jared Petit 12th, and Tyler Thomas 13th.
I think we had 28 drivers start, and I think we had 28 drivers finish. I think we had 27. I think Josh King, I think, was the only one that did not. If I had to look.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
So a fun bunch there.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. A good bit more contact at the end than kind of even what I was expecting. A wild race, start to finish.
That it certainly is. Anybody to talk to about positions? Nobody's in the interview room. All right. We've got a couple minutes here, I believe, until the next race, which starts at 8:45. Do you want to take a quick break? Be human for a moment?
Let's see. Yeah, Gardner's not in chat, is he?
No, Gardner's not in chat. I don't see Nate Sides floating around either. Sometimes he is. So...
Huh. Yeah, I mean, we already talked to Holden.
Mm-hmm.
What about Oh no, he's in focus. Never mind. Yeah, no. I think that kind of wraps it up for Bathurst.
All right. Take a second. We'll be human, and then when we get into practice for the next race, we will talk about points. Because I think I'd meant to prior, but then we got distracted with making sure that Bathurst was running correctly. So when we get into our Adelaide practice time, 20 minutes of practice there, here in a couple minutes time, we'll take a few of those minutes to talk about the standings after 2 races and see what our thoughts are on the season, how the rest of the season will have to go. Does that sound like a plan to you?
That is the plan.
Alrighty. So we'll be back in just a moment. We're going to take a quick human break, whatever you want to call that. Bio, shenanigans, nonsense. Anyway, BRB. We'll be back. All right, everybody. Welcome back. That says Mount Panorama Circuit. It's not really Mount Panorama Circuit. So... to reload. Anyway, we're back. Let's talk about points while we wait for this thing to fix itself. There we go. So, points for GT3 AM after the first 2 races, and does not include our first of the 2 for this week. Joe Weininger with 200 points, Zachary Holden going to be at 196, Tom Leeson at 192, Charles Roots in 4th, 178, Joe Petit in 5th, 166, 158, for Tara Peterson, Dale Marshall at 142, Tyler Thomas, Wesley Woods and Dale Marshall are going to be tied at 142, Tyler Thomas with 132, Christopher Gardner at 90, and we keep on working our way down out of the top line. Trying to keep going up. Hayden Mamenga, Richard Costanza, as well as Caleb Rodriguez, as well as Caleb Rodriguez. Is what I was told in chat. See if that's more right. Wrong. Find out. Adam Dahl, as well as Ben Louise Genhuis, James Cartline, as well as Robert Myers, Landon Orr, Ken Duvall, and then Grayson Parks. The 21 drivers we have in the AM division. It is a busy AM division this season.
A deep field. Good to see.
It is certainly good to see, especially because we have a whole host of them back this week as well. So we're curious to see how many continue throughout the season. I feel like AM categories are sometimes ones we see more attrition out of over the course of the season than we do with the pro category.
Yeah, definitely see that. I'm always curious to why. I guess you get a lot of people maybe just testing it out. Really, it might be their first kind of league, or so to speak. I'd like to poll some people on that.
We'll have to ask. It is definitely one that, I mean, this was one of my first leagues. I think it was my first league for a long while. When I was kind of spreading the wings beyond officials iRacing. So I'd be curious to see if that holds true. But I was pretty much a fan from the start with how the league was set up and how everybody here has been insanely supportive in every aspect. So.
Absolutely, very welcoming to honestly anyone and everyone. It's like show up, drive clean, hang out, have fun, and learn to race.
Quick splash there for iRacing live timing, and then we dive over to the pro division. Give us a rundown for that one.
Yeah, we've got old OMEC faithful Nathan Sides at 240 points, followed by another one, Nick Tyrrell, 238. That's a tight battle. I think we saw a big shakeup during Bathurst on that, so that'll be fun to see how it turns out. Michael Doyen sitting third at 224 points. William LeMaster, 218. Josh King, looks like he struggled a little bit too, at 210, tied with Tony Caicedo. Tony's back and putting in a solid effort this season. Casey Jones, 7th, 204 points. Sergey Peruk, 8th with 188 points. And another tight battle for 9th and 10th here with Timothy Schaefer at 158, and 2 points behind him is Jim Campbell at 156, sitting 10th. So top 10 is tight. After that, it kind of falls away a little bit. Giuseppe Vizzolo, 118, Mitch Buenaventura, Dan Griffin. These guys, looks like they only have one race on the season counted. Kevin Hayes, Joe Evers, Luke Plaisance. Matt Markley has two races as well, 100 points. Tyler Roberts, Kevin Collado, Michael Cannon, Brody Wallace making an appearance, and Ben Widener.
Yeah, a handful of drivers there. I think we saw early on this season. I don't think we've seen them come back yet. Since I think our first week, Kevin Collado, I think we saw at Daytona. I don't think we saw last week at Spa. So fantastic to see him back out on track.
Sad to see I missed the Brody Wallace sighting.
Yeah, you definitely I think we both did. So
Yeah, Spa. Another
figure
deep
out.
field. 22 drivers have started a race this season.
Of course, now is the time that my live timing decides it doesn't want to work correctly. So. All right.
3 minutes left in practice. Plenty of time to figure it out.
Plenty of time.
Yeah. Going back to the points real quick, that makes 2 in a row for Nate Sides.
Yeah.
Spa and Bathurst.
It does make 2 in a row there for the wins, and that'll be, I think, a pretty good points haul as well. That'll bump him, I think, keep extending that gap that he has over Nick Tyrrell, especially because Nick Tyrrell had such a rough race by comparison at Bathurst. I think it'd be interesting to see where the drop rounds, I think, apply later on in the season.
For sure.
I think between the two.
2 drop rounds, correct?
I believe so. But I believe the graphic will tell us. Succinctly, in case we missed something. 2 drop rounds, yes. Or 2 drop weeks. So these 2 races will count as one of the drop weeks for the purposes of the points totals. Interestingly, it's showing correctly on the broadcast. Well, no, it's not.
And 3 cars in a row slamming into the wall. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come there.
Hopefully, well, yeah. Hopefully not.
Which I'm curious to see how many people have actually raced here before. You know, it's fairly new to iRacing. If I remember, it's not that old.
You are also new to right?
I am.
Can I have you? Actually, hold on. Let me fix this. We're both just in the same room right now.
That has the standings correct there.
Yeah, but it's your standings. That's why.
Oh, do I need to exit?
Um,
Yeah.
That'd be the easy way to solve that. Yes.
I have left the building.
Cool. Let's see. Come on. Right. Well, I've solved one of my problems so far.
Well, name of the game here in qualifying is get the tires warmed up. That was a struggle here that I had.
Yeah, I can see that a lot of the cars.
Well, there we go. It was honestly almost to the point where, you know, you've got to have a lot of confidence in yourself, but you kind of waste that first lap. Don't really go too hard on it, but give it that extra lap to warm up and just really commit for that second and final lap and know that you've got it. That I found that to be the best way for me to get the fastest lap possible. And of course, if you're a little bit gun shy on that strategy, push a little bit on the first lap, at least get a time on the board. But I found your second lap kind of paid for that. So
Makes sense. Well, that's interesting. It just doesn't have a connection to iRacing. We're going to relaunch the sim. Hold, please. One moment.
cue the elevator music.
I wish I had it easily queued.
Well, currently nobody has posted a time. See quite a few other people having to reset. Then we've got Nate Sides about to cross the line now. Put up the first time. Oh, Nico Vizzolo, 119.1.
Ooh, okay.
Currently, oh, Sergey just came across the stripe with an 18.8.
Ooh, all right.
Sitting on top of the board right now. Followed by Vizzolo and then Nate Sides in third with a 19.4. Dan Griffin coming in a second faster than everyone, 17.8. But he's got an off track on the second lap, so the second lap will not count. So
Ooh.
hopefully a 17.8 holds up.
Hopefully it does. No.
Then as far as top AM right now is Chris Gardner with a 19.8, 7th overall. So everybody's putting in their second lap. Still, half the field have not posted a time yet.
Interesting. Oh.
We might,
It's just waiting on
well,
connection status.
that's crazy.
Good times.
Chris Gardner might be under fire from the rest of the AMs. Might be throwing out the promotion word based on that lap alone. He's sitting third overall.
Oh man.
Just Kevin Hayes putting it in fourth right now, but we still have quite a few people yet to set a time, including Nick Tyrrell. Oh, he has parked it.
That's where that was.
Oh no. Tyrrell appears to have crashed both laps and did not set a time.
Oof.
Pro points leader Nate Sides, P8. Almost almost 2 seconds off pace.
Why don't you connect? All right. Trying this one more time. Gonna get some more points while I work on that. Forgive me.
Need to call a iRacing hotline.
Yeah, I need iRacing to stop making things worse instead of better.
Speaking of iRacing hotlines, have you seen now we know how that's going back to Spa, La Source? Did you see that?
Oh, that insanity.
Yeah, we were
Piece
talking
of
about
it.
that.
Yeah. What?
Puddle never went away.
Michael Dorn, they should be 26 points. But they are labeled GT3 2025 because that is the regulations that we're technically using in iRacing. On the iRacing side of things for the car class. But that is the only reason.
Tony Cassetto did not set a lap either. Two minutes.
All right. This could be interesting. Maybe manually doing this. All right. Let me give you.
$30 seconds left in qualifying here.
Go see Dan if I want to keep third. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let me give you a file. And if you want,
Uh-huh.
you can go to driver overrides under
Is that
in the iRacing SDK under championship on the drop down menu or drop side menu. And then
Let me open it back up. Driver override. Load that file.
under import, yes.
Yep.
So what I will do if you're game for it is to
Okay.
utilize the output from your SDK because mine is apparently just unable to connect to iRacing right now.
Okay. overrides have been imported.
Heck yeah. Hey. Hello from Brazil. Welcome to the broadcast. You've come at a very interesting time. Working my way through.
Are we back?
Well, we're back for the broadcast. The camera will not be correctly for who we are actually on for the broadcast. I'll try to mirror who you've got for the sake of things.
Oh goodness.
Because it does not like pretty much any of my options. And did get the second fastest time, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he's on pole.
No, wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's get a full safety car lap.
Man. So it's gonna show whoever I've got highlighted on the timing tower.
Yes.
Oh boy.
And I would love for mine to mirror that, but it just doesn't seem to connect at all to iRacing's telemetry output. iRacing doesn't think there is telemetry to be output. So. Very fun situation.
Not sure what the best way to go about this is.
I'm not sure. The thing I'd love to do is make it to where my SDK mirrors your SDK, but that all requires it to see iRacing to send, to mirror the data, and that is where we're having the connection issue to begin with. So I think I'm just gonna have the old school camera.
Well, I think it might. Well, you can see who you're on inside iRacing, so you
Yes,
call out a name, and I'll just click on the name.
that's fair.
Or can you not see it with your UI closed?
Because after you close the UI, it's not as easy to see it. So we're going to rely entirely on how well do I know people's liveries. So we'll start with Dan Griffin as we get ready to go under to the green flag for another 30 minutes of racing. Dan Griffin's going to lead us off alongside Sergey Pro. Got a fantastic qualifying results. Kevin Hayes and Luke Plaisance going to be once again. Or sorry, Kevin Hayes and Nico Vizzolo? Nope, I got that wrong. No, I do. It's just, sorry. Chris Gardner is in fourth there, and that's where I'm getting everything thrown off by. But green flag is going to be in the air as Dan Griffin is going to take away. Great launch from all these drivers. Luke Plaisance with a fantastic run, going to make it 3 wide. Chris Gardner, he's almost going to make it 2 wide. He's going to bump into Dan Griffin and spin him around. He's going to stop there just to make sure he doesn't get into the way of all those drivers. The rest of the field working their way through as they work their way up and into turns number 3 and 4. The rest of the field looking like it's kept alive fairly well. I will say I have no event tracker, and I'm just going to be working cameras. So when you hear and see things that I don't see, call them out. So I'm just working my way up through the field at this point. Taking a look once again at the top of the time tower. Luke Plaisance with a fantastic run there. He's to keep himself up in first. Sergey Perok will walk away with the lead. The rest of the field going to work their way on as well. Out.
We have Nick Tyrrell crash.
Okay. So you have a good rundown of what happened there. Let's see if I can manually rewind it. Oh, it looks like a pretty.
Yep.
Oh, just a little bit too much, too early. Nope. All right. Further back, Tim Shaver, Matt Markley, so Tim Shaver, Chris Gardner. We'll be diving in 4 positions.
Rob Myers has jumped to the pits, and Dan Griffin has crashed again.
Oh boy! All right.
And he is in the pits.
Trim on the pace lap because I'm dumb.
Oh.
Put in the pits for an incident. Can y'all clear this penalty? Yeah, absolutely. Do this. That one, that makes sense. There you go. Get back at him. Let's see. What happened to Dan Griffin here? Oh.
Oh. Whoa.
It looks like almost the sim did.
Ghost car.
I think it towed. It says Rob Myers right there. Yeah, 'cause he had towed at this point. Yeah, he just didn't clock. Dan's sim didn't clock him as being gone fast enough. He got loose on his own prior to this. And then gets, I think, hit here. Yep. Wait, nope. Yeah, by Dale Marshall there. Was the woods real quick. Seeing what other battles are happening on track. Fastest lap for the race so far out of Nico Vizzolo, who's still keeping a pretty close gap up until Kevin Hayes. Oh, that looks like a pretty battered and bruised Kevin Hayes. What happened here? That's a backwards Nico Vizzolo too. Oh, that looks not fun. Oof. Huge impact with the wall there. Slides across and catches Kevin Hayes. Both those cars going to be finding their way out there. Huge moment for Tim Shaver. Does he hold on to that? He does. Fantastic run for him. Keeps his position there just ahead of Matt Markley. Continues to do so as these three now find themselves in a battle.
Few more people entering pit lane. Got Josh King, Tyler Thomas crashed, and Joe Evers crashed. But those guys are staying out on track.
Got a look ahead from Tim Shaver as he gets around Chris Gardner. Impatient Nate Sides going to hang out with Matt Markley.
Nice little battle here, 4 guys in it.
Mm-hmm. Probably be very good to keep an eye on. Well, I'm still trying to triage what I can of this.
Yeah, just watch him accordion throughout all these corners. You can get a good run on people coming through turn 1 here. You know, it's a pretty technical chicane, and you can time it right, give yourself a little bit of space, and go through a lot faster, and you can set up a pass opportunity coming into this corner right here. It looks like Sergey tried to take a little look at it, but wasn't quite close enough.
Matt Markley, as well as Nate Sides, I think, still struggling to find the way around the GT3M race leader. Still no dice.
Sergey peeking a nose, a little bit of contact. Or no, that's Matt Markley.
Yeah, Matt Markley.
Yeah.
Trying to find
Another orange car.
It is another orange to black gradient McLaren. Distinguishing the two is usually done by the stripe on the center of Matt Markley's car, as well as he has technically a polygon pattern in the gradient, whereas Sergey's is a flat tone shift. Now Markley looks like he wants to get around, but Chris Gardner doing really well to keep up with Tim Shaver as well as Nate Sides here. In the Old Spice. 2 McLarens, a Ferrari, and a Porsche. Followed by another McLaren.
Walk into a bar.
For a run of these 4 drivers, and lapped. Kevin Hayes hanging out in the background.
I know Nate Sides might be getting a little bit impatient right now, but from a points perspective, he is riding nicely with Nick Tyrrell having the issues in qualifying. Looks like he's up 10 positions, though, so he's starting to work his way through the field with a lot of help from people crashing out.
Also got Tony Caicedo rejoining this battle. Nate Sides going to try to get through. Cost Nate a little bit of time there trying to get around Tony.
Bit of a gap opening up.
Still no change in position from where he's at. Like I said, 4 good points all for the weekend. Or for the Tuesday, I should say. Say weekend, loosely. Minutes in, 20 minutes still to go. All these battles cooling down. One that is not cooling down at all. Zachary Holden and Trevor Peterson, I think, have just swapped positions. I'm curious if there's something there. So we're back at that. That was a pretty quick one. I wonder if he just got a better run. I believe that is the case. Let's see here. I think Richard Peterson's going to lift a little bit more. Zachary Holden. Yeah, huge moment there. Great heads-up driving out of Zachary Holden. Keep those two cars moving in the right direction. Not far behind them either. Up here in just a second is going to be the battle between Tom Leeson and Jared Petit. Tom Leeson having some great opportunities, but seems to be struggling to find a little bit more pace as he wants to close down that gap to Jared Petit.
And I'm seeing a Nick Tyrrell crash coming up on the board here.
Okay. So
Looks like he's still moving, so it may have just been a spin.
looks like it might be. Ooh, yep, there it is. It's too much gas too quickly. Twice now. Wonder if that Ferrari's not agreeing with him too much.
I think, yeah, something's not happy.
He sits in 16th, trying to keep ahead of Josh King. So making my way back up the order to find a couple battles going on between. I think we're Rob Myers and Tyler. I'm blanking on the last name. Thomas. There we go. Tyler Thomas. These two battling out for what would be essentially 10th in class. Pretty further down the order for them. Two Ferrari drivers. One of the many, I believe, Acura adjacent ones. The damage on the front splitter of Tyler Thomas's. Oh, it's going to be a huge moment there. Great bit of driving from both of them. Keeps those cars firmly together. Tyler Thomas, however, is going to get a quick trip down pit lane. Uh-oh. He's just going to, he did outbrakes himself.
The runoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll happen after an exciting bump draft through that corner. Kind of lose where you're at.
Certainly is the case. These two, however, also now in a battle for, say, overall position. It's going to be Dale and
that?
Caleb Rodriguez. Not Gez, but Rodriguez.
Rodrigue?
Yeah, Rodrigue. One of two. One of three. Caleb will tell us that we're wrong again, and we'll keep dialing it in. But both of them having pretty solid pace up until this point for where they are at in the M category. Kind of see the nimbleness of that mid-engine Ferrari building up a little bit of a gap there. I think the front end damage as well not really helping that Mustang too much.
This is not a good track for the Mustang. iRacing officials came here when I was pretty much driving only the Mustang, and I actually ended up switching back to the Lamborghini for 1 week just because of this track.
Interesting. Okay. Is it just because of how slow it is in the corners and there's not a whole lot of straight line speed opportunities?
Yeah, the Lamborghini just really excels at the slow speed type corner stuff, and this track really calls for that.
That makes sense. Halfway down, halfway home as these drivers continue to battle it out. Huge moment there. It's a huge loosely. Off track for Caleb. Stretch that lead back out and hop back up to the battle. I think because we missed Nate Sides and Matt Markley trading positions amongst all this. See if he has an answer. He can get around Chris Gardner. Chris Gardner able to maintain the gap between himself and up until that point, between himself and Tim Schaefer. Chris Gardner might be holding up this trio of pro drivers just a little bit at this point. Nate Sides looking on the inside. Chris Gardner going to let them all through because he has to go in, I believe, to serve a black flag penalty. Marker indicated that he was going to pit lane. We'll see Hayden Mamenga take over the lead of GT3 AM. And his teammate Zachary Holden pick up second place. Tom Leeson, Jared Petit swap positions. Curious to see if there is a response out of Matt Markley for just a moment. Gap keeps getting closer over the next few corners.
Everybody,
What you got?
everybody's appeared to kind of start to settle out a little bit. All the well, as I say that, we have. Nope, sorry, misread the timing. I thought we had somebody else going back into the pits towing, but he was just getting past. It looked like Nick Terrell starting to work his way back up the field after that second spin he had.
That is, I believe, the case. Zachary Holding setting the fastest lap in GT3 AM this most recent time by. Trying to slowly see if he can't close down that gap to Hayden Mamenga, who's currently leading GT3 AM at the moment. Gardner able to come out in 5th in class, which isn't a bad way to be all in all.
Caleb Rodrigue had to go down pit lane, I would assume, for maybe an incident limit.
I think so. I think I saw the black flag for just a moment, and that I think is where that comes from. Because we saw him using all the track and then some earlier on. We were watching him battle with Dale Marshall in the GT3 AM category. Matt Markley continuing to close the gap, as well as Nate Sides closing down the gap to Tim Schaefer now that Chris Gardner is not in the middle of all of them. I'll stand these guys a little bit.
Definitely the tightest battle on track. Everybody else is spread out a good little bit.
Yeah, Matt Markley not making it easy either for Nate Sides, who has to both try to apply pressure but not feel the pressure from behind too much.
That is a tough spot to have to try to set up a pass but not leave the door open for you to get past yourself, and that's really where you take it to the next level, is when you can start to think ahead and behind at the same time to make sure you're. Oh,
sorry, I was watching that closing distance between Nate Sides and Tim Schaefer close really quickly.
Yeah, that got tight in a hurry. I thought Nate was going to get around him, but just didn't get the drive out of the corner.
Yeah, I'd say also ended up kind of not trying to run into Tim in the process. I think overslowed a little bit.
Caicedo just spun the wheels coming out of that corner and dropped back a little bit, so should free up Matt to really try to put the pressure on. But Tim is doing what he needs to do right now.
Yeah, this battle, I'm trying to think the closest thing I see on what I can see of the timing tower at the moment.
Yeah, we've got Josh King and Trevor Peterson kind of close, but nothing like this.
Perfect. Despite Tony spinning the tires, still hanging out at the tail end of these. Matt Markley making a look, not committing to it too seriously. Really watching. We have it on Nate's side specifically, but it's really the battle between all three of these drivers.
Yeah, I just noticed Caicedo is what?
A couple tenths at
Lap
most.
down?
Yeah, he's a lap down because of I think an incident early on. Oh, that's going to be an impact there for Tony Caicedo. Matt Markley going to get pushed a little wide out there. Keeps it going. I think that'll see that battle break up just for the moment.
Sure, Nate Sides really wants that podium position.
He does.
So even though I know he's, probably aware of where his competition is, but when you're that close, you always want that extra spot.
Plus, you also being able to bank a really good race week or pair of sprints in case you have a worse week later on. So the ability to maximize those points as much as possible is, I think, what he's looking to do. 12 seconds between these drivers and Luke Plaisance as well as Sergei Perot up the road. Only a 4-second gap between those two drivers at this tip of GT3 Pro. Slower run for Tim Schaefer, excuse me, out of that final corner.
Equal speed going through one there, so Tim is really earning his pro badge.
Certainly is able to make that car pretty darn wide. It's not that hard to. I don't think it's as much of a necessity as it is in some other tracks to really widen that car out and play defensively or drive defensively. But I think he's doing a great job being consistent enough to stay ahead of Nate Sides throughout most of this.
Yeah, this corner coming up is really the only one he's kind of struggled with. I imagine
that's a huge moment there, though. That's going to bring contact between the both of them. Matt Markley going to get to pick up some of the pieces as a result. Sole position with Nate Sides. Tim still trying to make this move stick. Matt Markley on a bit of a good look here. He's going to make the lunge into the final corner. Looking for the over-under, but that's going to cause contact again as Nate Sides has to check to make sure he doesn't run into Tim Schaefer again in the last few laps. We'll see Matt Markley pick up that podium position for the moment. But the two people he was fighting with still hot on his heels. And I think every one of these cars has at least a little bit of damage on it as well amongst all this.
That, and I imagine they might be looking at their incident limit too and really taking that into account. Maybe settle down, make it to the end of the race.
That, I think, will be probably one of our deciding factors we'll have to keep an eye on here in the closing 5 minutes of this race. GT3 AM podium for a brief moment. Hayden Mamanga still holding on to that lead, 4 seconds ahead of Zachary Holden. That gap fluctuating but never going away. As well as Tom Leeson, 14 seconds behind. So good weekends for all those drivers. Chris Gardner as well, still ending up in 4th right now. So a good bit of driving there. The rest of the GT3 Pro field pretty spread out. This track is one thing we've seen less on most of the GT calendars. So be one I think we have, as well as since it's one of the newer iRacing race courses. One probably, I think the overall driving level is probably a little bit, let's say, newer or younger than some of our old, more stable ones like Spa or Daytona or even Bathurst. talking about just a few minutes ago.
Yeah. It's always fun to see how, the tracks that have been around for a while, that everybody's got plenty of time on, that skill gap competition level really tightens up. But when you get on a new track like this, gets spread out, and honestly, I feel like sometimes it really shows your true pace, your ability to adapt quickly and to really get up to speed. One fun idea I've always had, since practice time is unlimited in our racing, we don't have budgets, or anything like that, is to not announce either the track or the weather conditions before the session begins, and just have people load in and have to figure it out, in a 20-minute practice session, and then go racing.
That is the premise of the Wednesday League I've commentated for off and on over the years. For the beer league, they do weather and track. I think it's like 3 p.m. the day of. It's a Wednesday night league. And like either the day before or the day of at like 3 p.m. they give you a time, like what they're doing. So the whole goal, much like you're saying there, is not really to really do a whole lot of practicing outside of right before you race.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's a fun premise as somebody who's done commentary for it. So it's some very fun and interesting racing.
Matt Markley's pulling away.
Yeah, he is. Created a gap. 1.5 seconds was a second and a half. Was the gap?
Nick Tyrrell, black flag.
For the incident limit, along with Josh King. See him make their way through pit lane, end up a lap down to this trio of drivers.
I see Wesley Woods is labeled as crash. That actually happened about a minute or so ago.
That's missing a rear wing. Looks pretty upset. See where it developed. That looks like it was a little... Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Oh, it's probably the same men incident. It looks like it cost Nick Tyrrell got his black flag out of that, it looks like.
Oh,
backs
no.
up too far. Oh, almost takes out the leader as
There's your
well.
leader coming through.
Yeah. Luke Plaisance having to take evasive action as well. See if he's able to nurse this Porsche GT3 back to pit lane successfully. A bit of a rough day for him. He's just going to keep going. I don't think he knows. He's missing a rear wing. Well, I think he knows now.
That was one good thing iRacing did in one of the updates was aero damage. Let you know.
But that also means, I think this is the last lap as well for these drivers. The battle is on for most of the GT3 field, but specifically this battle for the bottom step of the podium continues. This is still our closest battle on track. Or is Tim Schaefer caught up, or is Kelvin Collado caught up to Tim Schaefer?
That one is tight as well, yeah.
Oh, that is tight. All right. See if he's able to get into the top 5 for the finish. Tim Schaefer slowing down. I think a little bit of damage as well as trying to not hit the incident limit. A little more cautious. A slow corner here. I don't think he's got that corner down very well. Kelvin Collado just going to sail right on through. Right. Now Markley going to able to hold on to that podium position. Kelvin Collado going to pick up P5 here. Nate Side's going to split the difference between those two. Sergey Pro going to get a fantastic
good battle.
Absolutely.
Oh, shout out Sergey. That was I just pulled it up here real quick to make sure his first OMEC victory.
Yeah, definitely. Sergey's first OMEC victory. I think his third or fourth, if we consider Osborne Formula Ultimate. Oh fuck! But I have to go double check that. Definitely his first in OMEC though. So a pretty fantastic run for him, and just consistency there. A little bit of chaos at the start, but he was able to kind of persevere throughout all that. Tim Schaefer working his way around. Was he out of gas? Yeah, Tim Schaefer is definitely out of gas.
So close.
It's trying. I think he's the last one waiting on for some results.
That didn't cost him a position though.
It did not.
Or did it?
No, it did not, because the next driver behind him was Tony Caicedo, who was a minute behind because he was a lap down from Tim Schaefer. So Tim Schaefer able to make it home. Hayden Mamengo was going to go give him a push, it looked like. Still might give him a push. Or he's going to do his burnouts, because Hayden Mamengo going to bring it home in GT3 Pro. Going to lose his wing immediately. Be his first GT3 AM victory.
That AM class that's going to be a slugfest all season.
I think it will be. We have a results tab with a yellow marker next to it saying that the results are ready?
Let me pull it up here. Is that what we're looking for?
That is exactly what we're looking for. We'll also have a tab off to the left that'll let us flip between GT3 Pro and AM. So we can start with AM this time, and then we'll do Pro next. It should be under like the grid section. Or not the grid, the...
Okay. Make it bigger here.
Yeah, to the right under the kind of results.
Cool.
Yep. There you go. GT3 Pro. You want to take us away this time, and I'll do the GT3 AMs here in a moment?
Yeah, Sergey getting his first pro victory, bringing it home, 5-second win over Luc Plaisance, and that amazing battle for the last step at the podium. Matt Markley came away with it in third, Nate Sides fourth, Kelvin Collado fifth. Great battle. Lasted quite a long ways throughout the race. Fortunately, had some issues there at the end and separated a little bit, but Tim Schaefer limping it across in sixth, Tony Caicedo seventh, Josh King had some issues that race as well, bringing home eighth, Jim Campbell ninth, and Nick Tyrrell somehow finding his way to 10th, despite all the issues he was having. Joe Evers, Kevin Hayes, Nico Fazzolo, and your pole sitter Dan Griffin finishing last there, unfortunately. Terrible things happened at the start, but just couldn't bring it back. And then some random person in 15th, ignore that.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody let you back into a car for a moment, it looks like.
Yeah.
No, Hayden Mamengo is going to lead off GT3 AM. It was a heartbreaker for Dan Griffin there. Hopefully next week we'll give him a little bit more respite or at least a clean start. I think he's been having, between the couple of issues at Bathurst, it definitely was a weekend to forget for him for sure. Hayden Mamengo going to lead the charge in GT3 AM, just so consistent throughout all that. Zachary Holton getting up to 2 seconds behind, trying to chase down his teammate Tom Leeson, going to round out the top three there. full 18 seconds behind the leader, and another 16 technically behind P2 around that podium. And somebody with the loudest engine needs to make themselves known at 10 p.m. at night. Chris Gardner as well as Dale Marsh is going to run out the top 5 there. Trevor Peterson, Caleb Rodriguez going to be the last 2 on the lead lap for those drivers. Wesley Woods as well as Rob Myers and Jared Petit rounding out the top 10. Tyler Thomas is going to end 8 laps down. Charles Rhodes as well as Keith Gwinnett going to be 2 drivers who do not finish, with I think Keith not even starting. So, Adelaide, I think a far different experience.
Yeah, everybody struggled, including the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Australia put up a fight.
It did put up a fight for everyone involved, and then some.
Yeah, no, I'm actually shocked that there was a lot of people laps down. Again, I think it just kind of new track, not as much experience like we were talking about, and it very punishing. True street circuit, no room for error.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those, like most street circuits, I think, are always ones that really showcase how much you can stay within the lines of a track. We get a lot of grace, I think, with how much we can use runoff or off tracks or the extensions of curbing. But even when you have a little bit here, like you see kind of in the tail end of the sides of beyond the sides of the kind of results screen, this track mostly is a proper street circuit, and one that has not a whole lot of runoff to kind of both leverage, or as I think it ends up being, is the kind of, you don't have room to sail off the far side, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, next week we go out to, I knew I had it just pulled up a moment ago. Next we go out to Road America, because the Road America 6 hour is coming up in just a weekend's time as well.
Brand new event.
Yeah. Mirroring the real life IMSA 6 hours of Road America that I think is the following weekend. Because this weekend is the vintage days at Road America.
Do you plan on running that?
Well, it's real life racing, I should say, is the vintage days at Road America. The vintage race, which was at Road America until they last minute changed it to be Laguna Seca, happened in March. I ran that, and I was disappointed that they moved away from the one, like, lot of mixed emotions. I think the lack of communication up until like the week of was kind of a choice, or the month of, about the changes to that event, which was the only event those 2 cars actually ever raced together in IMSA GT back in the 80s. So to move it away from that in favor of IMSA's vintage weekend at Laguna Seca felt pretty frustrating. But real life racing is happening this weekend at Road America, and I'm excited for that. So I'll be there this weekend. So
should we has Sergey ever been in here?
I don't think so. Well, yeah, I don't think so. Let's get him in here. I'm yoinking you, Sergey. Congrats on your win.
Hey, finally the first one. Thank you so much.
Well done.
No, this the first of all, I want to give the credit to team who actually sabotaged my first race and actually gave me like a wrong fuel numbers, which actually blew my first race out. But no, the second was actually good. I probably was happy because Dan was definitely faster than me, but I don't know, the incident in the very first corner with Luke helped me out, because after that I felt like a second fastest on the track and just had to hold it. So So a little bit of luck, but I'll take it. I felt like McLaren really good on this track.
I'll say you were incredibly consistent, with you and Luke, a solid 20 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. So,
Yeah,
good stuff.
I'll take it. It's kind of
Had
like
you,
my. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, had you had much experience here, or was this one of your first
I haven't
races?
No, I haven't raced this track on the GT3, but I did a lot of the open wheels here. So I did like Super Formula, SFL, and stuff. So I felt like I know the track, and for Super Formula, maybe it works for the GT3 as well. Is where like most of the corners you kind of like do like late apex in a way to gain speed, and that probably help. I don't know, to keep the pace. But I was like surprised to be like even P2 on the qualifier. So yeah, and then basically as soon as Dan got an accident, basically yeah, I just felt that I don't really need to do much. You like push like so hard, just keep the same pace I keep doing on the practice, and it's gonna be it.
Perfect. Executed well.
Yeah, and I'm mostly happy about that first like official like win, and probably even the I don't remember about the podium. Probably I had some podiums on the GG3, but yeah, definitely it's probably the biggest win. So I'm happy about it. Thank you so much for covering the broadcast. Curious to see what's happened over there with like behind me, because yeah, it looks like there was some crashes.
There were some crashes. There was a pretty big battle for the podium, which we ended up focusing on because in the middle of this, my sim decided to stop working correctly. Always.
I felt sorry for Tim. I felt like we were like chatting. He was P3 for a long time, and then he was I felt like under pressure from Dan, or like I don't know like who was behind him, but yeah, there was
Nate
like lots of
Sides as
discussion.
well as Matt Markley.
Ah,
It was
Nate,
a
yeah.
three-way fight
Yeah.
for the longest time.
Yeah.
So
And he it's like I felt sorry for him because he had a good race, but then he complained like, McLaren is so fast over here, like a Porsche sucked or something like that. I'm kind of like, man, come on, it's.
It was a McLaren podium sweep, though.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. I felt like I don't know, like it's maybe the setup, maybe the track itself, but yeah. Thank you so much for covering, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Definitely see you next week. I'm kind of curious to see what I got. Considering I blew up the first race.
We'll have to see. It definitely will be some good points to add to the championship standings, and then we'll see where you end up here. And we have a few more weeks left to go as we are rapidly approaching the halfway point. So.
And always a shout out to both of you guys for covering, for doing the broadcast, for sitting here, like doing all the hard work and stuff. So that actually matters a lot to it, for me at least. So yeah, keep doing the great stuff.
We will absolutely endeavor
Thank
to.
you.
Thank you, man. So we'll
hope
to see you soon.
See ya. Have fun, guys.
You too. All right, and then we're also gonna grab
Cheers.
Hayden in for his
Get
win
abducted. Oh,
in GT3M.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm just pulling you into the broadcast.
I was just talking about getting abducted.
Yeah, well,
So
perfect timing.
Oh,
How was the race?
I don't think I've been this witty since, well, I guess last week during Spa, but holy crap. I can't believe I did it. I'm speechless. I'm gonna thank iRacing for screwing over the Acura. So I was forced to jump into the Ferrari for like a 20-minute practice session
Mhm.
and somehow get it down. I mean, they're not too different, but I'm just, yeah. I don't know what to say. I'm so happy.
That's all you got to say
was-
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what
What,
else to say. Just
What do you think
So-
about Adelaide?
I guess I like it now. I started test driving it like 2 weeks ago, and I was so lost, and I didn't know exactly where to turn. I was braking on the straightaway because I didn't know where I was. And then last night I was doing pretty decent in the test session, and then like 4 o'clock I see that the Acura doesn't work, so I'm panicking, going, what car am I gonna choose? I go, okay, I didn't have like the most experience in the Ferrari, so I'm just gonna jump in the Ferrari, and it worked out, I guess. So,
Heck yeah. Well, are you excited to go back to the Acura next week if it's fixed?
yes, because I want to see your reaction to the paint scheme.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh boy.
That's
Oh,
the
boy.
only reason. It's amazing.
Is it one that will actually get flagged, or is it like this one?
It's not. There's nothing inappropriate on it. I mean,
Okay.
it's more appropriate than the one I was running tonight. So,
Okay.
well, depends on how you think of the rear, but
Okay.
Wesley made it, so I'm gonna shout out him on the creation of this terrific beast. So,
Understood.
Excited for next week, whatever we're running Road America. Now I'm less excited, but gotta learn that track again. Yeah, but
I
Wesley
love
did
Road
an amazing
America.
on the.
Do you like Road America?
I didn't race it for the first time until last season, so I was learning it during the 90-minute race.
Ah, okay.
So I got to put in a little bit more practice this week to figure out what everything is and where. So
Heck yeah.
I'm
So
just
fun.
excited to run that amazing paint again because I guess everybody's loved it so far. It's just an abomination.
Well,
So
we'll have to see whether or not we actually have to set a paint rule.
if there is, can you please name it after me?
I will. I will name it the Hayden
Yay!
Omega paint rule.
Hell yeah!
So,
All right.
but all right, we'll let you guys celebrate your win. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
stuff.
Good.
Hope to see you soon.
Thanks for broadcasting.
Yeah, of course. All right, and that was Hayden Omega. Comes home the winner of GT3 AM. All right. Think about wraps it up. Do you have any other final thoughts here as we get out of our weekend in Australia? I say our weekend. My concept of time is super shot. Forgive me. Our Tuesday, which could be the weekend, the race weekend in Australia.
That's right. No, just man, a lot of carnage. I'm sure Road America is going to be a lot cleaner. I'm excited to see what happens to these point standings after tonight. Some pretty big shakeups. Some people kind of really doing what they needed to do, hold on, and some people kind of tripping and falling a little bit. So we're about a quarter of the way into the season.
Yeah, we'll be
And
halfway. Yeah, we're just over a quarter. I think we technically were a quarter last week after Spa, so we're getting to the third, almost halfway point. We'll be at halfway after Road America next week.
yeah, happens quickly, so it's getting to be crunch time.
That certainly is. So we'll be here in 7 days' time for that race at Road America. 90 minutes, another endurance week, as we have a bit of that adjusted format. So we'll have 2 more endurance rounds before our last sprint week of the season. Only 2 of them, and then 2 more endurances to round out the 8-week calendar for season 15. I think that about does it for us. So we will bid you a good evening and a farewell, and we'll see you all in a week's time. I've been Fettuccini, giving you the broadcast side of things and doing my best to keep the lights on. And Nicholas Maynard has been my fantastic co-commentator to give you all the insights about driving and all that jazz. This was a time. I had a lot of fun. We'll see you all in a week's time for more. Yeah, that sounds right. All right, cool. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon.